Hi there, I'm Steve Knutson. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to create a little help bot using Copilot Studio and to add that into your SharePoint site. So the first thing we need to do is we need to decide what content we want to use. So I've just created a SharePoint team site, and in here I've got a mix of content, including a collection of documents, PDF files, some PowerPoint files. These files all come from, all need to be less than 3 megabytes in size for Copilot Studio to be able to read them for your custom Copilot. I've also got some page content in here. I've just created a page in here with some information about wiki options in SharePoint. And then I've created another couple of libraries in here with some sample content, including a leave policy, which I generated using Copilot itself. So Copilot in Microsoft Word to generate a sample leave policy. So that I've got some information to work with. I've also got a contracts library, which has got some PDF files, including some information about insurance and other things like that. So once we've got our content set up, it's always a good idea perhaps just to start with a test site so that you can get the hang of it before you roll this out onto real content, because there is content hygiene to consider and the security around what information is going to be visible to your custom Copilot. So if I go over into Copilot Studio, which you access through copilotstudio.microsoft.com, the first thing that we do in here is we have a overview screen where we can create a new Copilot. The first time you go in, you'll get asked to give the option to create a trial. Just create a trial that sets yourself up to be able to test these things out. It is paid later though, so make sure that you've got sort of some time in front of you to be able to take advantage of the trial. So click onto the new Copilot option here, give the Copilot a name, choose the language, and then start with the website URL to the site URL to your SharePoint site that you've just created. You can add additional ones later or change these sites out, but we just need one to get ourselves started. Once we've done that, we can create the Copilot by clicking on the Create option at the bottom of the screen, and then once we've done that, we're ready to go. So I've got one that I've prepared earlier, so I'll just go back to that. I've called my one Help Bot, and you'll see that when I go into Help Bot, it's got a number of things, including like a test screen here where we can actually test the chatbot to see is it going to work. So I can ask it a question. So what is the what is a frequently asked question? I've got a document in here called a frequently asked question document, so we'll see if it can answer that. While it's doing that, on the right-hand side, you'll see, here we go, so it gives us a quick answer. So you can see that you can use this for testing. One of the things that's probably interesting to know here is that if you go into the Add a Website option, you can add files and you can use other sources as well. For the demo, we won't do that, but you can use these if you want to extend the Copilot into other areas, and custom topics and plugins are also supported. Once we've got this set up though, the first thing I noticed is that when I did this test in here, it was fine. So how do I get this onto my SharePoint site? So if I go down to my publishing options down here, you'll see it's got this option here to publish the Copilot. So publishing will make the Copilot available in other places, and you can do a few tests. So you can test it with a demo website, which takes you to like a demo website with your bot installed, or you can scroll down the screen a little bit and go to channels. In channels, you'll see it's got these options in here, but initially most of these options are grayed out initially, and the reason for that is a security configuration. So I'll go back into the security settings later, but essentially what we're going to do is from here under Custom Website, we're going to grab this code snippet, and we're going to use that inside SharePoint. In SharePoint itself, you need to enable the copilotstudio.microsoft.com in the HTML field security. So you need to do that in the site settings for the site you're going to run this on. And then you can just use an embed web part to add this code into the page. Next, what we need to do though is we need to change the security settings. So under the settings on the custom Copilot, there's an option down here for security. In security, it's a little bit under authentication. It defaults this option here called Authenticate with Microsoft for Teams and Power Apps. Now, this doesn't actually work when you're in Teams. You need to choose this option down here to manually authenticate. When you do that, there's an article that you can follow which will step by step take you through the configuration. But essentially, it's this. You'll go through, you'll tell it to use Azure Active Directory. You'll use a client ID from the app registration and a client secret that you're going to create in Azure as well, and then you'll use that to authenticate the app. So if we just go and have a quick look over in Azure portal, so I've gone to the Azure portal, I've gone into app registrations, and my HelpBot virtual agent is here. And in here, a few things. The first thing is that we are setting up the authentication for this. So we've got this this path here, which comes from the screen over here. So you'll see this token path. We then have actually in the app itself, so in the registration itself, if I go to the overview, you'll see the application client ID. This client ID is important. We're going to use that in here. This is the client ID of the app registration for this particular app. And we're also going to go down here and set some API permissions. Sorry, before we do that, we're going to generate a certificate. The certificate we're going to generate is going to be it gives you a value. This value is only visible when you generate it, so you need to copy this and keep this for later. Keep it somewhere safe because you'll need to use that when you do the later steps in the process. And then down in here under the API permissions, this is the thing I found in the Microsoft documentation that missed. There were two documents. The first one had OpenID and profile. The second one mentioned file read all and site read all, which makes sense, but wasn't actually in the other document. So make sure you have all four of these Graph API permissions enabled, and they're delegated access permissions. Once you've got all that set up, everything should be connecting, and you can test that by using by going back into our publish option. The easiest way to test it is to publish and then go to the demo website and then do a search, and it should give you the same answer that you get if you ask it in here or similar, because it's using the same content. If it comes up and says it can't answer the question, then something is wrong with your authentication provider configuration that you've just done. So now once we've got the site ready to go back to our channels. We're going to grab that custom code from here, and over in SharePoint on our home page, we've got two things. The first thing we need to do is we need to go into our site settings. It's very slow here. Go into our site information, go down to our site settings, and then under HTML field security, we need to make sure we've got copilotstudio.microsoft.com included in this list. It's not there by default. You need to add this in. If you don't have that, the embed code won't work. Then back on our page, we edit the home page in this case, and then we're going to add, in this case, an embed web part. And in the embed web part, we're going to paste that code in. Now, what I did was the default Microsoft code has a width of 100% and a height of 100%. I've just made it 250% so that it's taller in my section on the right-hand side of my page. So you can just adjust the height by changing this value here. Once you've done that and you've published your page, you then have a bot in the page that you can ask questions. So let's just give it a wee go. Here's a question I asked earlier about the leave policy. I'm going to ask it another question and say, how much sick leave do I get? So you could make a custom Copilot for your HR content, which can be a mixture of both documents and content pages. And you'll see it's given me a response here with two references into the same document. Or you could create a custom Copilot around knowledge base, perhaps build around a whole bunch of SharePoint pages. So what is so does SharePoint have a wiki? And I can ask it a question like this, and it will go away and find some information, in this case from my frequently asked question page. So SharePoint does have a wiki feature that allows you to create and collaborate on wiki pages. And then it's got a frequently asked questions document that you can go to for that one there. I could ask it a different, so you can ask it questions based on any of the content that you've got in your area. So that's pretty much the demo. One little more thing, you can also use this Copilot inside Teams. So if I go into Microsoft Teams, I can then just add the bot will be available in my app, so that I can access it that way, or I can just go to the channels again, and in Teams, and here I can just copy this link. So open in Copilot, and that's going to open the Copilot inside Teams. And you'll see that when it does that you just get a chat option inside the team, and you can use the same questions off the same data. And if we just do the demo website as well, we've got the demo website option here. It gives us a link that we can copy. I'm just going to copy that to the clipboard, and you'll see that if I paste that in, also, we get a little trial chatbot that we can type in here, and you can ask it questions. And the first time I'm going to go in here, it's going to ask me to log in. It's going to give me a token because I haven't got single sign-on set up, which you can do. And if we go down to here, paste that into the bot, we now have our chat bot, and we can ask it questions in here also. So what is insurance? I downloaded some insurance documents from a bank, loaded them into the site, so there's PDF files. So hopefully this is going to answer the question out of that. I'll zoom that up a wee bit. It's always slow when you're waiting for it, but here we go. It'll be there and should be here any second now with an answer for us. Perhaps I should have asked it for something a little bit easier. Maybe that's a hard question to answer. But anyway, here we go. There we go. So it's brought back a response on that, and it's got a link to the related document and so on here as well. All done. So there you have it. That's a simple demo of how to build a custom Copilot and add it into your SharePoint environment. You could build this for all kinds of scenarios. But yeah, have fun, have a play, and use the trial license. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel and spread the good word. Thank you.